This is Eric with the crew, and my government has asked me to self-quarantine during the pandemic. If you're anything like Viv and I, you have a lot of time on your hands. Most of our business involves international travel, and that's not happening. So we've decided to make lists of the things we do at home during self-quarantine. Her list can be found in a video right here, and the lists are a top 5 of what you can do during the quarantine. Number 1 on the list, movies. Now, I don't go to a lot of movies. I prefer to make movies. I don't want them to influence my creative ideas for our projects. However, Viv insists on a group of movies that I need to watch, and I'm working on getting there. I think I've ticked off English Patient with her, and that was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that. However, I've gotten into the Bollywood movies, and if you've got the kind of time that I've got right now, get into some Bollywood. They're 2 to 3 hours long. One of my favorites is Kasari.
आज जवाब देने का वक्त आ गया.
It's about some Punjabi warriors up in northern India protecting some forts. It's awesome with a lot of great scenery. Next up, television shows. I don't watch television shows. When my wife puts on Modern Family, I walk out of the room. So here's a list of things I don't think you should watch. First of all, the news, any news, for more than 15 minutes. After that, you're gonna go brain dead. Second would be anything that keeps you from a book. I do have to admit, I watch a few television-like series on Netflix, mostly as chewing gum for the mind. One of my favorites is a 5-season Turkish soap opera, 448 episodes. It's great. Resurrection Ituglu. It's all in Turkic. Great series though. I watched all 12 seasons of Trailer Park Boys. Certainly that is chewing gum for the mind. I'm just starting to get into Black Sails. That's because we filmed in one of the locations in South Africa where Black Sails was filmed. Still watching the episodes, still haven't seen where we filmed. Next up is reading. And I'm not talking on your phone, the internet, I'm talking an actual bound book. I read nonfiction. If it's fiction, it's ancient fiction. So otherwise, stick with real life. Here's my list. And if you're an American, you notice we're slowly getting our civil liberties peeled away. So I suggest reading something about the Constitution. You should really learn about that. It should be an obligation for citizenship. So take a look at the book Original Meanings. Next up on the list is what we're doing here, YouTube channels. And you really shouldn't watch any other YouTube channels until you've been through every single episode of ours. I believe we have about 190 episodes now, including other how-to videos and interesting tidbits I've put up. After you've binged on our stuff, this is what I like to watch. Village Food Factory. This old guy out there in India crushing some mega-sized Indian food. Super interesting. Insect House TV. This young kid has bugs, huge bugs, crawling all over his face, his arms. Really fascinating what kind of insects are around the world, and the kid's kind of weird, so it's interesting. And that's probably about all I watch on YouTube. So I'm going to plug in the last couple with what my daughters watch. My oldest daughter, Riley, watches documentaries on the New York Times channel, and my youngest watches iDubbbz. That one I'm not even sure what it is. I didn't even look it up before this, so I'd be curious if it's actually interesting. So that's about it for YouTube. I watch myself, an old Indian guy making food, and a young kid with bugs on his face. Next up, physical exercise. You really should be active. I'm really pissed our gym is closed. I get why, but it leaves me with the only alternative is 8-ounce lifts about every hour or so, and that's not a workout. So go run. You can get out and do that. It's good exercise, and if somebody gets inside your 6 feet distance, you might get into a fight. That's pretty good exercise too, as Viv points out in her video. There's also calisthenics, which you can do in the backyard to get your whole family involved. They'll love that. Work in the yard. That's for free, and you also score a lot of points with your wife, who you're isolated with. And that brings me to my next suggestion for exercise, sex. When I mean sex, I mean real good sex, like good workout sex. Like every couple days, cycle through the positions. Next is dancing. Dance parties. We throw dance parties here in the house, just the family, playing 45s on an old record player. Of course, Kids get a little embarrassed about the parents going a little crazy in front of the big picture windows in the house, all the neighbors watching. They eventually leave. Dance with your wife. Dance all night long. You're here a long time. Next up, music. Now, I don't listen to music much or the radio, but I do have a few songs usually playing in my head, kind of like superhero theme music, only I can hear. So here's my list. Pretty much the only time I listen to music is when I run, so I recruited my family again to ask what do they listen to round out my list. Next up was podcasts, because Viv listens to a lot of podcasts. I don't. I read books. So I'm going to give you another list of books. Here they are. Next up on the list is games, and this is my list of games. Now I know a lot of you play board games. I don't do that. I pretty much think the ultimate game is life, where there are no winners. However, this is what I used to do when I was a kid. I decided to add in a list we didn't have. Drinks. If you're isolated at home with your family, you're drinking. I know you are, because when I go to the grocery store, all the damn liquor's gone. You're buying it. So, here are my suggestions for drinks. Breakfast, Bloody Marys. That's pretty much obvious. Next is Kentucky Bourbon. That's for working at home and the reading list I showed you. I've been working a lot. For homeschooling, straight up vodka. Get your work done. Works good for Zoom meetings as well. They all think you're sipping a glass of water. Well, a list of what I'm grateful for. Let's revisit all the other lists. A solid cocktail, sex, freedom, probably that I haven't been sent to jail yet for killing my progeny. Very grateful for that. And Viv's friendship, because now you're starting to understand what she has to deal with here. And rounding up the list of 10, quotes and facts. I've found myself probably too weird to live and too rare to die. And that sums up my list to entertain you during the quarantine. Now comment below, tell me what you like, what you don't like, and pick a category. I'd like to know what your list would be for these particular categories. Watch the videos, subscribe, comment, and thanks for joining us on this crazy ride through life. Be rare.